I hope you're doing well on this cold January day. I have some books and songs here for you today, so let's get started. We wave hello like this, we wave hello like this. With you here at story time, we wave hello like this. We tap our heads like this, we tap our heads like this. With you here at story time, we tap our heads like this. Touch our toes like this. Oops. We touch our toes like this. With you here at story time, we touch our toes like this. Forgot which way we did it. We wiggle our ears like this. We wiggle our ears like this. With you here at story time, we wiggle our ears like this. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing alright, although I'm not a huge fan of the cold. But my first story here today is called Blizzard by John Rocco. So I guess I should get used to the cold, huh? And this story actually starts off with a page and then has the title page. So, one day, when I was a young boy, nearly 4 feet of snow fell from the sky. 4 whole feet! That's probably taller than you guys. And this is my story. Blizzard by John Rocco. On Monday, the first flakes fell right before recess, and it was followed by many, many more. The wind whipped up, and school closed early. That's probably a good idea. By the time my sister and I got home, the snow was already over our boots. That's already pretty high, huh? The snow continued to fall throughout the night, and I thought it would never stop. That's pretty deep. Almost taller than a stop sign. The next morning, the snowdrifts were so high we couldn't open the front door. Jeez, that's his front door. So, we went out through the window. We laughed as we sank deep into the frozen powder. But walking in it was hard. It was like moving through white quicksand. Every few steps, I had to stop and rest. It does not look like fun. It was even too deep for our sled. When we went back inside, we were cold, wet, and tired. We made camp by the wood stove, and our feet tingled as we sipped hot cocoa made with milk. Sounds pretty cozy, huh? On the third day, Wednesday, Dad shoveled the driveway so he could get the car out when the snowplows came. I'm surprised the snowplows haven't come yet. We dug tunnels and secret rooms under the snow. And he says, an igloo can keep you warm at sub-zero temperatures. You guys know what an igloo is? It's a house made out of snow. By day 4, the plows still had not come. I wondered if we would ever see grass again. Inside, things got tense as our food started to run out. Oh no. I knew we couldn't survive much longer on cocoa made with just water. Ugh. We need to go to the store, but the roads aren't plowed, and we certainly can't walk through this. On day 5, I realized it was up to me to take action. I was the only one who had memorized the survival guide. And he's reading Arctic Survival, which is probably a pretty good thing to read in his situation, huh? I was the only one who knew what equipment was required. What do you think he's going to do with those tennis rackets? That's pretty smart, huh? I was the only one light enough to walk on top of the snow. On day 6, I made a list. And his list says milk, bread, eggs, and candy bars. I prepared the sled. And then I set off. My usual landmarks were covered with snowdrifts, but I managed to check in with the neighbors on my very long journey. And they're just telling him what he needs. So, candles, cat food, coffee, peanut butter. Look, I have to peek out through their window. At last, I reached my destination, the store. I was tired, hungry, and chilled to the bone, but I couldn't think about myself. I was on a mission. On the return trip, I raced to drop off the groceries before the sun set. Grateful smiles and cheers gave me the energy I needed to make it back home. And there he is, delivering all his groceries. And it looks like he made it back home. That night, we all had hot cocoa made with milk, and it had never tasted better. But there was something else that we still needed. What else do you think he needs? Snowplows! It looked like we would see civilization again, after all. And he says, I guess we'll have to go back to school tomorrow. We had survived the blizzard. And that's the end. I hope we don't get 4 feet of snow. I'm not sure what I would do. Let's see. Should we sing a song? I think so. But which song should we sing? We got The Two Birds. I feel like we haven't sung this one in a long time. Do you guys remember Two Little Blackbirds? Let's see. I have to remember it myself. 2 little blackbirds sitting on a pole. One named Fast. One named Fast, and the other named Slow. Fly away fast. Fly away slow. Come back fast. Come back slow. 2 little blackbirds sitting on a gate. One was wobbly, the other was straight. Fly away wobbly, fly away straight. Come back wobbly, come back straight. 2 little blackbirds fly in the sky. One named Low, the other named High. Fly away, fly away low, fly away high. Come back low, come back high. two little blackbirds sitting on a cloud. One named Quiet, the other named Loud. Fly away, Quiet. Fly away, Loud. Come back, Quiet. Come back, Loud. Let's see. Funnily enough, my next book has a bird in it. Do you guys recognize that bird? Can you tell me what that is? It looks like a penguin. But my next book is called Lost and Found, and it's by Oliver Jeffers. I hope you guys enjoy. In fact, I'm going to get a little bit closer. We have a suitcase, and that's it. Lost and Found by Oliver Jeffers. Excuse me. Once, there was a boy who found a penguin at his door. That's a good way to start a story. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it might be lost. So the boy decided to help the penguin find his way home. He checked in the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. I guess that's a good place to start. What do you think? He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from, but they ignored him. Some birds are like that. I'm surprised you didn't ask the penguin, huh? The boy asked his duck, but the duck floated away. He didn't know either. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but he wasn't sure how. He was too sad to sleep. The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get there? Oh, wow. He ran down to the harbor and asked a big ship to take them to the South Pole. But his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's horn. So, together, the boy decided he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. Not sure how well that would go. So the boy took his rowboat out and tested it for size and strength. He told stories to the penguin to help pass the time. And then they packed everything up that they would need and pushed the rowboat out to sea. Do you think this is going to go well for them? It's a pretty small boat. I don't know. I guess if you're determined. Oh, come on. The page does not want to turn. They rowed south for many days and many nights. There was lots of time for stories, and the penguin listened to every one, so the boy would always tell another. It seems very peaceful. Oh no. They floated through good weather and bad weather. When the waves were as big as mountains, I'd be afraid of tipping over. Until finally, they came to the South Pole. The boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again as the boy helped it out of the boat. What do you think his problem is? Why is the penguin sad? The boy said goodbye and floated away. When he looked back, the penguin was still there, and it looked sadder than ever. Oh. It felt strange for the boy to be on his own. There was no point in telling stories now, because there was no one to listen, except the wind and the waves. And they're not very good listeners. Instead, the boy just thought. And he thought some more. And the more he thought, the more he realized he had made a big mistake. The penguin hasn't been lost. It had just been lonely. Oh no. Quickly, he turned the boat around and rowed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. Oh no. Who does that look like there? At last, he reached the pole again. But where was the penguin? The boy searched and searched, but he was nowhere to be found. Where do you think the penguin went? Sadly, the boy set off for home. But then, he saw something far away in the water ahead of him. Closer and closer he got, until he could see the penguin. And they were reunited. How sweet. And so the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way. And that's the end. I hope you liked that one, guys. Let's see. Should we do one more song? I think so. Let's see what we get. What are you guys hoping for? Maybe we'll get it. We got The Grand Old Duke of York, which is my favorite song. Fun? Can you guys help me sing along? Do you remember it? Oh, the Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of a hill, and he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. He marched them to the left. He marched them to the right. And then he marched them upside down. Oh, what a silly sight! Do you guys think we should sing it again? I think so. Oh, the Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of a hill, and he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. He marched them to the left. He marched them to the right. And then he marched them upside down. Oh, what a silly sight! That's all I have for you guys today, but I hope you enjoyed. Let's see if I can do our goodbye song correctly. Help me out, okay? Tickle the clouds, tickle your toes, turn around once, and tickle your nose. Reach down low, reach up high. Story time is over, so wave goodbye. Goodbye, guys. I'll see you next week.